U.S. President Donald Trump's Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, doesn't exist anymore. That's according to Office of Personnel Management Director Scott Cooper, who spoke to Reuters earlier this month. The cost-cutting body has seemingly been disbanded with 8 months remaining in its mandate. But these are the first public comments from the Trump administration on the end of DOGE. Cooper told Reuters that it is no longer a, quote, centralized entity. According to him, in documents reviewed by Reuters, the federal government's Human Resources Office has since taken over many of DOGE's functions. Cooper also told Reuters that a government-wide hiring freeze, another hallmark of DOGE, is also over. Set up in January, the agency made dramatic forays across Washington in the early months of Trump's second term to rapidly shrink federal agencies, cut their budgets, or redirect their work to Trump priorities. DOGE claimed to have slashed tens of billions of dollars in expenditures, but outside financial experts could not verify those claims as the unit did not provide detailed public accounting of its work. In an email to Reuters, White House spokeswoman Liz Huston said, quote, President Trump was given a clear mandate to reduce waste, fraud, and abuse across the federal government, and he continues to actively deliver on that commitment. Elon Musk, who led DOGE initially, regularly touted his work on his X platform and once brandished a chainsaw to advertise his efforts to cut government jobs. Despite his public feud with Trump in May, Trump administration officials have not openly acknowledged that DOGE no longer exists, and Musk has since left Washington. Although President Trump signed an executive order earlier in his term, decreeing that the body would last through July 2026, Trump and his team have nevertheless signaled his demise in public since the summer. In statements to reporters, Trump often refers to DOGE in the past tense.
Video released by the Israeli army shows the moment it struck a building in a southern suburb of Beirut on Sunday. Israel's army says the strike targeted and killed Hezbollah's top military official Ali Tabtabai. Hezbollah confirmed the death of Tabtabai in a statement, mourning him as, quote, the great jihadist commander who they said had worked to confront the Israeli enemy till the last moment of his blessed life. Lebanon's health ministry said the strike killed 5 people and wounded 28 more. Country President Joseph Aoun urged the international community to intervene to halt the Israeli attacks. In a short televised statement, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said he would not allow Hezbollah to rebuild its forces. He added that he expected the Lebanese government, quote, to fulfill its obligation to disarm Hezbollah. Hezbollah official Mahmoud Kumati said Israel's strike crossed a, quote, red line, adding that their leadership would decide on whether and how the group would respond. The United States imposed sanctions on Tabtabai in 2016, identifying him as a key Hezbollah leader and offering a reward of up to $5 million for information on him. The Israeli military statement said Tabtabai, quote, commanded most of Hezbollah's units and worked hard to restore them to readiness for war with Israel. The strike came a week before Pope Leo is set to land in Lebanon and despite a U.S. brokered truce a year ago. The November 2024 ceasefire was meant to end a year of fighting between Hezbollah and the Israeli military, triggered by Hezbollah's rocket fire on Israeli posts, a day after the October 7, 2023 attack by its Palestinian ally Hamas. But since the truce, Israel has kept up near-daily strikes on Lebanon, targeting what it says are Hezbollah armed depots, fighters, and efforts by the group to rebuild.
The United States and Ukraine announced an updated peace framework to end the war with Russia, revising an earlier Trump-era plan criticized as being too favorable to Moscow. After talks in Geneva, US and Ukrainian delegations called discussions highly productive and said they would be continued in the coming days. The White House said the revised plan includes stronger security assurances and reflects Ukraine's national interests. Ukrainian officials offered no separate comment and were not immediately available.
We had a very good day today. I think we made a tremendous amount of progress.
US Secretary of State Marco Rubio said on Sunday that significant progress was made on a plan to end the war in Ukraine, but no agreement was reached on how to guarantee Kyiv's security amid concerns about the threat posed by Russia.
Clearly, I think we all recognize that part of getting a final end to this war will require for Ukraine to feel as if it is safe and it is never going to be invaded or attacked again.
Ukrainian, US, and European officials met in Geneva on Sunday to discuss a draft US plan to end the war, after Kyiv and its allies voiced alarm over what they saw as major concessions to Russia. The 28-point plan includes calls for Ukraine to cede some territory, accept limits on its military, and renounce ambitions to join NATO. For many Ukrainians, such terms would amount to capitulation after nearly 4 years of fighting in Europe's deadliest conflict since World War II. European officials, who said they had not been consulted on the plan, on Sunday offered a modified version that pushed back on some of those proposed limits on Kyiv's armed forces and territorial concessions. US President Donald Trump had given Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky until this Thursday to approve the plan, but on Saturday said the proposal was not his final offer. On Sunday, Trump posted that Ukraine had, quote, zero gratitude for America's efforts to end the war. Soon after, Andriy Yermak, head of the Ukrainian delegation, thanked Trump for his commitment to Kyiv.
We thank our big friends, United States and personal President Trump and his team to their commitment to bring this peace.
Minutes later, Zelensky also thanked Trump in a social media post. Two sources told Reuters that US and Ukrainian officials were discussing the possibility of Zelensky traveling to the US, maybe as early as this week, to discuss the US peace plan with Trump.
At the heart of our presidency lies a conviction that the G20 must act boldly and act together to create an environment of inclusive growth, an environment of reduced inequality, an environment which will support sustainable development. More than that, it reaffirms our renewed commitment to multilateral cooperation and our recognition that our shared goals outweigh our differences.
China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi has added to tensions with Japan over a remark on Taiwan made by its new Prime Minister, calling it shocking. Wang is now the most senior Chinese official to comment publicly on the issue, which has shaken relations for more than 2 weeks. In a statement posted on the Foreign Ministry's website on Sunday, Wang said Japan was crossing a red line that must not be touched, accusing Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi of attempting to intervene militarily over Taiwan, and that it was shocking for Japan's leader to openly send a wrong signal. Takaichi was responding to a question in Parliament on November 7th over a hypothetical Chinese attack on Taiwan, when she said it could trigger a military response from Tokyo. Beijing views democratically governed Taiwan as its own territory and has not ruled out the use of force to take control of the island. Taipei rejects Beijing's claims and says only the island's people can decide the future. On Friday, China raised the issue with the United Nations Secretary-General, vowing to defend itself. Japan dismissed Beijing's complaint to the UN as entirely unacceptable, saying its commitment to peace was unchanged. In a Sunday statement, Wang said China must resolutely hit back over Japan's move. He threatened to dredge up its warring past if it, quote, persists in its wrong course, saying people have the right to re-examine Japan's historical crimes. After the G20 leaders' summit on Sunday, Takaichi did not comment on Wang's statement, telling reporters only that Japan remained open to dialogue with China. Beijing had said the two sides would not meet at the gathering in South Africa, which Takaichi confirmed. The dispute has led to the Asian neighbour's biggest crisis in years, hitting trade and cultural ties as well. China is Japan's largest export market after the United States, buying about $125 billion of Japanese goods in 2024, according to UN trade data.
For most of her life, 59-year-old farmer Tip Kamlu has irrigated her fields in northern Thailand with the waters from the Kok River. It flows down from neighboring Myanmar before joining with the Mekong River that cuts through Southeast Asia. But authorities in April warned residents to stop using water from the Kok because of contamination concerns. Since then, TIP has been using groundwater to grow pumpkins, garlic, sweet corn, and okra.
It's like half of me has died. When the river became like this, we couldn't use the river water, the water crops, or for anything. If we use it on vegetables, people won't buy them. I just want those responsible to help take care of it.
The contamination isn't just hurting farmers, it's devastating fishing communities too. 48-year-old Sawat Kewadam, an artisanal fisherman from the riverside village of Bansob Kok, says he can barely catch fish from the river.
If the Mekong River could speak, it would say it wants to cry. The water keeps rising and falling. There are no fish. The river would cry and so would we. We can't catch any fish. Where have they gone? I just cast my net across half the Mekong and didn't catch a single one. Before, there were always some. Now, where have they gone?
A study by the US-based Stimson Center found mines across mainland Southeast Asia, many illegal and unregulated, could be releasing deadly chemicals like cyanide and mercury into rivers. Brian Eiler is a senior fellow at the center.
This story started with the impacts of only 2 rare earth mines on the Kok River system. Those rare earth mines were in Myanmar. Our research is showing that there are scores of tributaries of major rivers like the Mekong, the Salween, the Irrawaddy, and rivers in Vietnam that are likely highly contaminated. And this story is not known, so the extensiveness and the scale is something that's striking to me.
The emergence of new China-backed rare earth mines in eastern Myanmar initially set off concerns among researchers over the danger of downstream pollution along the Kok River. Thanapan Fernrat is from the Thailand Science Research and Innovation.
The arsenic that appears in the water comes along with rare earth minerals. These rare earth elements are also associated with radioactive elements. Their concentrations rise and fall together. It has only been 2 years since the rise of rare earth and gold mining in Myanmar at the Kok River's source. If this continues, nature will no longer be able to resist it, and contamination levels will rise sharply.
From Myanmar's mining sites, raw materials are shipped to China for processing. Beijing dominates global rare earth production and has used these minerals as leverage in its trade war with the US. In response to questions from Reuters, China's foreign ministry said it was not aware of the situation on river pollution. Meanwhile, Thailand has set up 3 new task forces to coordinate international cooperation, monitor health impacts, and secure alternative water sources for communities along affected rivers.